If you missed the last Countryfied, I've went over my garden, did freezer jam, so you might want to check that out. I'm doing a little bit more preservatives each year. And this year I wanted to do mustard bean pickles. My grandma used to do them quite a bit when I was a kid. I'm hoping to do some more beans, but it depends on how many come in and if I can get my hands on more. 4th generation farm girl. There's my grandma there coming in from the barn, and I used to garden and do canning with her, as well as my mom, who helped me make these mustard bean pickles you're going to see. Hey, it's a family tradition. It goes back to my great grandma here in the white blouse. I like to think I'm a chip off the old block, and I'm thankful times have changed and I don't have to wear a dress like that. But at least great grandma knew how to smile and have a good time. They didn't do that back in the day. So I'd help my grandma do down her preservatives, help my mom. But you know, I'm a hands-on learner and I want to learn the art because it's, you know, it's a dying art. Nobody does it anymore. That was one goal I wanted to do this summer, so check it out. Mama helped me. I said, Mama, you sit back, let me do the work, and you just supervise. So I did the work from start to finish. Mom helped me stem them. When you don't have a dishwasher and you got to do those dishes by hand, you know what? It's quite a bit of work. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. So you don't miss any preservatives and you don't miss the action. You know what? I like to have fun with everything I do, and gardening can be fun. And if you haven't seen it before, I like to have fun. That's how I roll. All right, the wind's picking up, so I'm going to try to get this done lickety-split. When you're picking your beans, don't pick them when they're wet. They go rusty. So whenever you pick your beans, pick them when it's dry. Don't pick them when they're wet. They get rusty. The leaves get rusty. The beans get rusty. I've been eating beans for dinner, but this is what I had before I made the mustard bean pickles. So I was lacking some because I needed a 4-quart basket, but went to a local farmer, grabbed some more beans, threw them in with my beans, and there you go, 4-quart basket. We ended up using just a little bit more than a 4-quart basket and used all the beans. Don't forget to wash those hands. So we're getting ready to do some mustard bean pickles, and I don't know if you didn't stem beans with your grandma before, then you probably weren't an 80s baby, because it's a lost art now. Who does preservatives anymore? Sitting here with Mama, she's helping out. She's going to guide me in the right direction. She's like a lighthouse, guiding me and showing me the way. Speaking of lighthouses, I got my Peggy's Cove hat on because that was a great trip. Too bad COVID got me. Can't go on trips, can't do much of anything, so let's make some mustard bean pickles. Alright, so you're going to stem the ends. Take off the little ends here. Cut them in half. You need a 4-quart basket of beans. And if you come across beans like this, and they're hollow, they're no good. You can pretty well see through them. You want to get rid of those beans. So we're going to stem these. You know what? When we get into this second wave and there's no food on the shelf, you can go down to your cellar and pull up a jar of your bean pickles. And then we're going to get to pickling. Right, you're going to rinse your beans, and the great thing about growing your own vegetables, you don't have to worry about chemicals on it. The only thing is maybe a bird might have went on it, and you know what? I'd sooner eat dirt and stuff than chemicals. So the beans are on, they're coming to a boil. And while the beans are going, it's a 4-quart basket. While I'm bringing them to a boil, there's a pot of water here that I have going that I'm going to bring to a boil and sterilize the mason jars. So while this is going, I'm going to clean my mason jars. While the beans are getting cooked, I'm going to clean my mason jars. Give them a little wash, little rinse, but then we're going to have to sanitize them in boiling water to sterilize them. I'm not sure where the sink plug is. I mean, I don't know how you lose a sink plug, but we have, and we're going to just wash them here in this little basin and make do with what you got till we find those plugs. You want to check your lids, ones you've used before, to make sure that they're not too rusty. If they're rusty, throw them out. A few of the lids that were rusty I've thrown out, so I just went to the cupboard and got some new mason jar lids. The beans have come to a boil now, so I've turned down the heat, and you just want to cook them now for 20 minutes at a light boil. With lid on or off, Mama?
On.
Leave the lid on. You're going to sterilize your lids, and then you're going to use your tongs, and you're going to put your jars in there and sterilize the jars for a couple of minutes, but make sure you use your tongs because it's hot. Once you've cooked your beans for 20 minutes, half an hour, you're going to drain them. I'm going to take my beans, and I just need to put them in a container for now. Need 3 3/4 cups of sugar. 1/4 cup of flour to go in. Here's a 1/4 cup of dry mustard we're going to add next. Next, we're going to add half a tablespoon of turmeric. So I found myself in a bit of a pinch because I didn't have any celery seed and called the neighbor up and brought it over. Thanks, AP. Need a half a tablespoon of celery seed. 3 cups and a 3/4 cup of vinegar. So now that your brine is ready, which is what we did with all the ingredients, you're going to whisk the brine. There's flour in it and you don't want it to go clumpy. So you're going to whisk this, bring it to a boil. It's coming to a good boil right now, so I'm going to add the beans that are already cooked. Alright, now this is going to come to another boil with the beans in it. Alright, now that the beans are all boiling, they've come to a boil. I've turned the heat down a little bit, and now they're just going to cook for about another 5 minutes before I put them in the jars. This little thing, we don't really know what it's called, but this was my grandma's, and it's seen a lot of days of preservatives and my mom using it. I'm going to use this, a plate, and then an extra plate here, so when you're done you can put your thing with the hole in it right there, and you're going to need a knife so that you can get your air pockets out of your jar. Take your cup, and if you place your saucer in between all of this, it's going to catch the drips. You're going to look for air pockets. You're going to take your knife and you're going to slide your knife down. Make sure there's no air pockets, because if there's an air pocket, your mix could spoil. Might want to use a cloth when you're handling it to put the lid on, because it's pretty hot. Make sure your lids go on nice and tight. There, that's how that's done. You want to hear those lids pop. That's a good sound, like a little pioneer girl. Like and share and subscribe on YouTube, because we got a whole lot more canning to do. Stay tuned.